About me, I'm Sandeep Bhushan Tumala, and my credentials are: I have 10 years of teaching experience for civil services. I teach international relations and internal security, and as well as the daily news analysis of the Hindu newspaper. And throughout my session, I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases, and these keywords and the key phrases are definitely very useful and critical information, because by these keywords and the key phrases, while you are emphasizing, you can definitely get an edge over others in regards to the prelims and mains examinations, and especially focusing in regards to the mains examination. It will be useful for you pertaining to the answer writing for the mains exam, because when you imbibe the keywords and the key phrases, your answers would certainly be precise and concise. And once your answers in the mains are precise and concise, you will certainly score higher marks in the mains examination. So thereby, this session will help you to crack prelims and mains both for 2020 as well as 2021. And we will be focusing at the daily news analysis. So this session is the daily news analysis, newspaper analysis, which is of today, that is 21st September 2020. And before we get into the DNA, that is daily news analysis, the quote of the day is: our greatest glory is not in never failing, but in rising every time we fall. So the glory lies not in falling, but the glory lies that every time you rise, whenever you fall, is a glory. So this is a quote of the day. And now we'll get into the today's news, wherein amid fierce protests, Rajya Sabha passes two farm bills. So before I get into the topic, I would say a warm welcome and a very good morning to all who are in the live and also in the live chat. A very good morning to Kalyan, Praveen Kumar, Suresh, Rahul, Sheikh Wasim. Sheikh Wasim, very good morning to you. I hope you are, for the first time you are joining. A warm welcome to AKSIS Academy Daily News Analysis. And Maria Babu has also joined. A warm welcome to everyone to AKSIS Academy Daily News Analysis. And now we'll focus at this, because these two farm bills are the one which are making the entire news in the television since almost 2 days. And there are totally three agriculture related legislation bills. Out of the three, two have been passed in the Rajya Sabha, and this is a keyword: by voice vote. So there is no discussion, there is no debate, but by a voice vote. That means just by taking the majority with the voice. As I said last time, that is ayes means who says yes and who says no. So whoever says yes, the majority through the voice vote, it has been passed in the Rajya Sabha. So the keyword is voice vote. And what it has been passed, because the government of the day is aiming at liberalizing the farm sector. This is another keyword: liberalizing the farm sector. Please do understand the keyword liberalizing the farm sector. In regards to liberalizing or aiming at liberalizing the farm sector, the government has passed in the Rajya Sabha through a voice vote in regards to the three agriculture related legislations. Two have been passed. And what are the two? That is Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce. Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Bill 2020. This is one. And the other one is Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Bill 2020. These two were earlier cleared by Lok Sabha. That is, last week it was first passed in the Lok Sabha, and then the bill has come to the Rajya Sabha, and in Rajya Sabha it has been passed to the voice vote. And that is what many of the opposition parties are not really happy with, the way the procedure taken up in regards to passing of the two agriculture related legislations or the bills in the Rajya Sabha through the process called as voice vote. And this is not really accepted by the many of the political parties in the Rajya Sabha. So two bills, please do understand: Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Promotion and Facilitation Bill 2020, and the other one is Farmers Empowerment and Protection Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Services Bill 2020. And in regards to this, as I said, that many of the opposition parties, political parties were not really happy with the process. It has been passed in the Rajya Sabha. So the MP from the Congress, that is Pratap Singh Bajwa, has said in regards to the passage of the bill, he has referred this bill as the death warrant of farmers. Death warrant of farmers. And another MP from AIDMK, SR Balasubramaniam, has said this bill as it is a way to disinvest in agriculture. Disinvest in agriculture. Why I am referring this is for keywords, that we will focus at the keywords, not whether which political party said is not important, but we will be focusing in regards to the keyword death warrant of farmers. They are referring to the two bills which have been passed in the Rajya Sabha and also in the Lok Sabha. And another MP from AIDMK has said that this bill is calling the way for disinvestment in agriculture. And another MP, that is from Biju Janata Dal, Amar Patnaik, has said that the government is sending, or he wanted the bill to be referred to a select committee. So these are the keywords. We are not, as I am reiterating my statement, that we are not worried about which MP from which political party have made the statement. No, we are only looking at the keywords which could be useful while you are writing an answer in the mains examination, or whether it is framed. These keywords could be also part of the question in the mains examination. So death warrant of farmers, disinvestment in agriculture, and the bill should have been, that means the government should have been referred the bill to the select committee. This is what the Biju Janata Dal MP has been referring to. So these are the three keywords. And before we get into the next topic, I would say a very good morning to Ram Kumar, Gopi Kiran. What's voice word? Okay, I did say it. Srinivas, Upender, and then Srinivas and 1, 2, 3, Srinivas. Okay, money. No, 1, 2, 3, that is money bill. This is voice vote is, as I said, you will not have discussion, you will not have deliberation, but only the members, MPs in the house will say yes or no. So whichever voice is high for yes, then it is considered the bill has been passed. So that is what the voice vote is. There is nothing called as money bill here. No, nothing. It is only in regards to the voice vote to the two particular bills which are pertaining to the agriculture sector. And the other bill, apart from the two, are the essential commodities bill. But that is not been part of the bills which have been passed in the Rajya Sabha. Only two agriculture bills have been passed. And now we will focus at what is select committee. This is additional information which I am providing, which will be certainly critical information for preliminary examination for UPSC perspective. So what is select committee? Because there could be a question framed on the select committee, probably not on the farmers related bill, but there could be a question because one of the MP wanted this bill to be referred to the select committee before it is being passed in the Rajya Sabha. So what is select committee? You need to know it. So it is a committee which is of a small number of MPs who are being appointed to deal with any particular areas or issues. So if there are any issues or any area which is yet to be discussed before it is being passed in the Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, so the members, they are requesting that it has to be referred to the select committee. So it is a small number and you have a committee there which will look into the particular issue. And this select committee concept was actually been borrowed by the Westminster State System of Parliamentary Democracy from UK. This is another point. And this select committee is as per under Rule 125 of Rajya Sabha Rules and Procedure. They can, any member can move as an amendment that a bill be referred to a select committee. So who has done this? Who is wanting this bill to be referred to a select committee? It is Biju Janata Dal MP Amar Patnaik is asking the government to send the bill, to refer the bill, which wills, the two bills which are related to the farmers, that these bills be referred to the select committee. So whenever any member can, so who can move the bill? Any member of the house can move the bill so that there be brought few amendments or changes to the existing bill, and that can be referred to the select committee. How that will happen? Only when there is a motion, when this carried. That means the bill, only when there is motion, and then when there is a discussion, and then the Rajya Sabha chairman decides that yes, this can be referred, I mean that particular bill can be referred to the select committee, only then it will be passed down to the select committee, and that will be done only through a motion if it is carried, and that is not been taken up in regards to the two farmers bill which has been passed in Lok Sabha last week and then yesterday in the Rajya Sabha, and the bill shall be referred to such committee. Which committee? Select committee. Only when there is a motion in the Rajya Sabha as per the rule 125 of rules and procedure of Rajya Sabha. And the select committee can appoint various subcommittee if they wanted to examine any special points connected to the bill. And if there are any doubts which are been popped up during the procedure or during the entire examining of the particular bill, that can be referred to the chairman of the committee, that is the chairman of the select committee, or it may refer the point to the Rajya Sabha chairman, and then the chairman, whatever decision is taken, whenever a doubt arises in particular procedure in regards to a bill which is referred to the select committee, the entire doubts will be clear and the decision of the Rajya Sabha chairman will be final. So this is about select committee, which is very important information for prelims and a better understanding of the concept of why it has to be referred to the select committee, and this is from polity point of view. And Azmat Khan has also joined. A warm welcome to you, Azmat Khan. And now we will also look at the news which is again related to the same, that is passage of the two bills in the Lok Sabha last week and then in the Rajya Sabha. And this is in response to what the opposition are really not happy the way the bills have been passed in regards to the farmers in the Rajya Sabha. And the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, has answered or given a statement in reference to what the opposition is demanding, and the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that the minimum support price and the government procurement of crops would continue. So there is a doubt in the minds of various farmers association and the political parties that in the future, because of the passage of the bills, farmers bills in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, there could be a possibility that the MSP and the government procurement in the sense purchase. So government will purchase the crop. We will look at. So when you will have a system of MSP, the government provides the minimum support price to the crop. Government procures or buys the crops whenever the situation is there wherein there is no one in the market to purchase. So in that situation, the government will come to the rescue of the farmers, will help the farmers in buying the crop, and then that can be used for the public distribution system, PDS system. And what has been given the confidence by our Prime Minister, that is Narendra Modi, to all the farmers association and to all the political parties, that the MSP, minimum support price, and government purchase of crops would continue, and there will not be any kind of disturbances even after the passage of the two agricultural bills, wherein there is lot of protest in the Rajya Sabha, and many farmers in Punjab and Haryana are really worried about the passage of the bills which has been passed by the government of India. And Narendra Modi, that is the Prime Minister of India, has also said that the government of India is ready to serve the farmers, is ready to serve the farmers, and it is going ahead, or it has gone ahead with passage of the two agricultural bill only to support the farmers and to ensure there is better life to the farmers in the coming generation. So definitely the Prime Minister is making a statement and giving confidence to the farmers across India that his government or India is definitely to serve the farmers, to support and ensure a better life for the coming generation, farmers generation. And this bill, he says, it gives them freedom and it will double the income, because our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has made it very clear that the farmers' income will be doubled by the year 2022. So he says that the two agricultural bills will give the freedom and will also double the farmers' income by 2022. And he says that definitely Indian agricultural sector is in a desperate need of latest technology in the farming sector or in the agriculture sector. So thereby the two agricultural bills will make sure that the latest technology in the industrious farmers will come into existence, and that will give, or it will make sure that it will support and ensure better life for the coming farming generation. And he says that farmers will have easier access for the future technology, and once they have the access to the future technology, the farmers, they can boost the production and the yield will be of high, so that their doubling of income can take place by 2022. So our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, that is Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, has given confidence and made it very clear that MSP, government procurement, will continue even after the passage of the two agricultural bills, both in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Madhu has also joined. These who are not joined, Rocky has joined. A warm welcome to you all to AKS IAS Academy for the daily news analysis. And now, because our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that we will continue the minimum support price. So as I said, this is the keyword, and government procurement is also a keyword. So now we will focus on the one, that is the minimum support price. And this is again an additional information which will be certainly useful for the preliminary examination, and also for you to understand a better conceptual understanding pertaining to economy. So you need to know what is MSP, because unless you understand the concept of MSP and the government procurement, you will not really appreciate what our Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said, that it is really a betterment and it is really for serving the farmers, and then it will double the farmers' income. So now we will look at what is minimum support price. It is a form of market intervention. It is a form of market intervention. So who is intervening? Intervention in the sense, who is intervening, or who is coming to the rescue of the farmers. So who is coming to the rescue of the farmers, or which market intervention by whom? It is by Government of India. So it is the Government of India which intervenes in the market, which intervenes or which is coming into the market, so that it will ensure that agricultural producer which the farmers have produced, that their prices will not fall, that there will not be a sharp fall in the farm prices of the farm produce. So the agricultural produce by the farmers will in any scenario, the prices of the produce will not form or will not fall to that extent which will create an havoc or which will have a negative impact on the income of the farmers. So whenever that situation is there, then the Government of India will intervene, so that it will make sure that the prices will not fall further and it will not affect the farmers' income. And in that case, what the government does, it will go ahead with minimum support price. So the Government of India announces the minimum support price for various certain crops, and the Government of India announces this minimum support price when at the beginning of the sowing season itself. This is very, very important. At the beginning, before the season or the Kharif season or Rabi season itself, before you sow the seeds, before the farmers sow the seeds of certain crops, the government announces the minimum support price on the basis of recommendation. This is the keyword. Of whose recommendation? You have a commission, that is the Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices. So this is the commission which will decide the minimum support price of particular crops or certain crops of the farmers in agriculture sector. Who will decide the prices? It is a Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices. But who will announce it? It is the Government of India by the recommendation of the Commissions for Agricultural Cost and Prices. So do not get confused. It is recommended, or it is that the prices will be decided by the Commission for Agricultural Cost and Prices, but it will be announced by the Government of India. What? The minimum support price. And minimum support price is fixed by the government. Why? To protect the producer or the farmers, so that the fall of the prices do not take place, especially during bumper production years. So there is, whenever there is more, the crop is bumper or the crop yielding is very high, so that means the demand will be less and the supply will be high. When the demand is less and the supply is high, so what will happen is the prices will fall down. The prices will fall down. So when the prices keep on falling down, then the government comes to the rescue of the farmers, and it will protect the producer or the farmers, and it will decide the MSP. And this MSP is the guarantee price, that definitely the farmer will get that amount of price for the particular crop. So that below that, if it goes, then it is an definitely the farmers would be at loss. So the major objective is to what? To support the farmers from distress, so that the prices will not come further down. And then the government will procure in the sense, government will purchase the goods or the crop when nobody in the market is ready to purchase it. Then the government comes forward to support the farmers to purchase the food grains, and it will use it for public distribution system, PDS, and through it will again use it through fair price shops. What do you mean by fair price shops? That is what we call as ration shops. Ration shops. So look at it, how the government is supporting the farmers through the minimum support price, and then how the purchase of the food grains by the government, it is using that through the public distribution system, that is through the ration shops. And definitely the purchase of the entire quantity offered by the farmers announced by minimum price will be purchased by the Government of India to protect the farmers. So this is very crucial information for preliminary and also a better conceptual understanding. And then Kundal Pradeep has joined, Gopi Nayak, Bhushnam Tharla has also joined. A warm welcome to you all to AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis. And now we will look at another news which says, make ethic codes must for all news channel. Who is saying this? NBA tells to Supreme Court. We have looked at this news last week, saying that the Supreme Court has asked the NBA and the Government of India to come up with guidelines, so that they can protect the interest of the, or the dignity of the humans, or else dignity of particular minority groups. And in response to that, NBA has now it has come up with an affidavit to the Supreme Court, asking the Supreme Court to direct to the Government of India so that it makes ethics code. Now we look at, so what is NBA? It is News Broadcasters Association. News Broadcasters Association has told the Supreme Court to make its code of ethics. This is again important from ethics point of view. Code of ethics against, we have seen this news, because of malicious, biased or regressive content which is being taken up by almost all the TV channels, and we have seen that the Sudarshan TV and Bindas Bowl TV has come up with a show in regards to the UPSC Jihad program, and in regards to that a petition was filed in the Supreme Court to ban or to go ahead with the pre-telecast ban. Pre-telecast ban, this is a keyword I was using, and then pre-publication ban. So what is important is pre-telecast here. So for that, now the News Broadcasters Association has asked the Supreme Court to make code of ethics, so that the court will direct the government of India so that the ethical code which are in the program code of Cable Television Networks Rule 1994, this is a keyword. So which rules the NBA is talking about, that is News Broadcasters Association. It is talking about the ethical code which are in the program code of the Cable Television Network rules should be included, so that all the TV channels will definitely be abiding to the rules and regulations. And it says that the Supreme Court, it wanted the Supreme Court to strengthen the self-regulatory mechanism, so that any kind of communal or derogatory content in the electronic media can be penalized, can be prevented or penalized. So definitely the keyword here is self-regulatory mechanism. So the News Broadcasters Association has come up with asking the Supreme Court to direct the government of India to include the ethical code in the program code of Cable Television Networks Rules 1994, and it wanted that the News Broadcaster Service Authority should be granted an independent self-regulatory mechanism. It is wanting that NBSA to be granted independent self-regulatory mechanism to receive and deal complaints, so that it can try to make sure that it will have a control over the programs which are being aired by the TV channels, so that it will be binding and enforceable on the channels. And now we look at the other news, wherein it says the government tables bill to amend FCRA. So what is FCRA? It is Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. We did discuss about this a couple of weeks back. So this is a keyword here, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act. And now the center is all set to amend the Foreign Contribution Act 2010. And it was amended, major amendments in 2010 and later on in 2015-17 also, but it wanted to amend also the Foreign Contribution Act 2010, and it proposes, what it wanted to include here is that the Aadhaar will be mandatory. Aadhaar, providing the information or the Aadhaar will be mandatory in regards to what? In regards to the office bearers, the directors or any other key functionaries of the NGOs or any other association who are eligible to receive the foreign donation, they have to provide the document, that is Aadhaar. This is the keyword. And the Foreign Contribution Bill 2020, please do a look at it. It is an act here, it is a bill here. Bill is 2020. It is, once it is been assented by the President, then it becomes the Foreign Contribution Act 2020. So it was introduced in Lok Sabha by the Minister of State, that is Nityananda Rai. And what this bill is amending, what it is requiring is to enhance transparency and accountability, so that the amount which is coming through the FCRA by the foreign entities into India to the NGOs or any association, that is crores of rupees which are entering into India, has to facilitate for the genuine non-governmental organization, and that has to be only for the welfare of the society. So there has to be, the bill is wanting that it enhances transparency and accountability, and the money should be used only for the welfare of the society. And not only that, the bill proposes to include public servants, corporations owned or controlled by the government. So this is the keyword. Public servant or the corporations which are owned or controlled by the government to be among the list of entities who are not eligible to receive donations. So definitely now the public servants and the corporations would be, they are definitely part of the amendment or the bill proposals to include them in the list of entities that they would be not eligible to receive the funds, that is the foreign funds. And the bill proposes that the amount which is entering, that is a foreign fund which is coming into India through the FCRA, that can be used or that can be diverted to the administrative expenses of only 20% of the foreign funds. Out of the foreign funds, only 20% can be used for the administrative expenses. But earlier, the limit was 50%. Now from 50%, it has been reduced to 20%. And now we will focus why the public servants were included. Why the public servant and the corporations owned or controlled by the government are included, especially the public servant. This is very important for you all. And this amendment in regards to including the public servant was included by the clause C of subsection 1 of section 3 of FCRA. To what? To include the public servants in the list of entities who are not eligible for the foreign funds. Now we will look at why this was. Why this clause is included, so that the public servants are in the list of entities, because we will go back to 2016, then we will understand it very clear. In 2016, the Home Ministry has cancelled the license of Lawyers Collective. This is an NGO or association. Keyword Lawyers Collective, which was run by a noted lawyers, that is by Indra Jaising and Anand Grover. And this Lawyers Collective have received the foreign funds of 96 crores in the year 2016. Between, the Indra Jaising, she was in the post of Additional Solicitor General, ASG. So we have Additional Attorney General and then Solicitor General and Additional Solicitor General, the ranks. Fine. And when she was in the post of Additional Solicitor General, she was during 2009 and 2014. But the Ministry of Home Affairs has cancelled the license in the year 2016 of the Lawyers Collective, because they had got that they have received the funds of 96 crores. And when she was brought under this purview of violating it, Ms. Jaising has refuted the ministry allegations. So whatever the allegations put forth that the violation in regards to the Indra Jaising of receiving the funds of 96 crores, she has refuted it, saying that she was a public servant and not a government servant. So look at it now. When she had said that she was a public servant, fine. Now they have included the public servant in the list of entities. Please do understand this logic analysis. That is why now the public servants are included in the list of entities who cannot receive foreign funds the way they have received the foreign funds of 96 crores. And FCRA regulates foreign donations and ensures that it will not adversely affect the internal security of the nation. And it was first enacted in the year 1976 and it was amended in 2010, and now it will be the major one will be in the year the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2020. So definitely this is an useful information for both prelims as well as mains examination. Now we will focus on the another news which talks about World Bank seeks universal eligibility. So universal eligibility is the keyword which you need to focus for prelims as well as mains examination pertaining to economy. So definitely the government of India is going ahead with taking loans from the World Bank. So there would be 1 billion World Bank loan taken up by India. Why? To prevent, to detect and to respond to the coronavirus. So we have seen because of the COVID-19 pandemic situation, the economic activity was damaged, business revival is not too high which is expected, it is happening in that way, and even the national or else India's health system has been very badly affected. To strengthen the national health system and to prevent and detect and respond to the coronavirus, we are wanting a loan from the World Bank of 1 billion. And when this 1 billion World Bank loan is to receive India, now there are conditions. Please do understand, there are conditions. What conditions? It is universal eligibility in procurement. So to make sure that we get the 1 billion World Bank loan, now there are conditions by the World Bank in regards to the concept. This, please do understand here, keyword universal eligibility in procurement. So we have to, India has to follow, India has to accept, India has to get into the mode of accepting or following the universal eligibility in procurements to receive the 1 billion World Bank loan to prevent, detect and respond to the threat of coronavirus and to strengthen the health infrastructure in India. And now what does it mean? That is, to the conditions in regards to universal eligibility in procurement, it means that the preferential market access policies, this is the keyword here. So we have few policies in India. So government of India has few policies. What are those policies? They are preferential market access policies. Preferential market access policies, including the public procurement order and micro, small and medium enterprises policy, and the benefits to the startups shall not be applicable while there are purchases made while implementing the national projects, which the procurement does take place from the World Bank, that is 1 billion. Please do understand, the preferential market access policies, public procurement order, micro, small and medium enterprises policy, benefits to startups will not be applicable while government of India is purchasing any national projects while it is implementing. So what is the national project? It is in strengthening the national health system. So definitely Ministry of Railways have said that whatever the tenders in regards to the documents, they should amend and they should remove that such preferences, all this, and ensure the contractors to comply. That means to follow the relevant provisions, of World Bank's anti-corruption guidelines. This is a keyword. So the contractors now should follow the provisions of World Bank's anti-corruption guidelines and prohibited policies of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. So we have to follow the provisions of World Bank anti-corruption guidelines and also the policies of Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, AIIB. So these are the universal eligibility which the Railway Minister has said that there has to be amendments to the tender documents. And this is part of the loan, World Bank loan is part of India COVID-19 emergency response and health system strengthening project. So this is again a key phrase. Which project is that? Because we are talking this as national project. Please do understand. And whenever a national project is being taken up by the World Bank, all these are not applicable while the government of India is implementing national project. So what is the national project here? Definitely India COVID-19 emergency response and health system strengthening project is a national project, and it is a joint initiative of Government of India and World Bank. So it is a joint initiative by the Government of India and the World Bank, wherein we are getting 1 billion loan, and that 1 billion loan, it is a joint initiative between Government of India and World Bank, but it is dispersed. Who is giving the amount? It is the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, IBRD is the bank which is disbursing, which is giving the money of $1 billion loan by the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. And the Railway Ministry is one of the implementing agency of the national project, that is COVID-19 Emergency Response and Health System Strengthening Project. And apart from this universal eligibility in the supply system, the World Bank would have the right to review. So definitely the World Bank can review and can inspect or audit all the accounts, records and other files relating to the project, national project, that is a joint initiative between Government of India and the World Bank. And all the compliances, that is the rules and regulations or the conditions, have to be made mandatory for the funding of the World Bank, that is of $1 billion loan by the World Bank, which will be disbursed by the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development. So this is very, very conceptual understanding of the loan, or else the concept of universal eligibility in procurement in regards to implementing of national project, which is a joint initiative between Government of India and World Bank, And what is the project? It is India COVID-19 Emergency Response and Health System Strengthening Project. So please do focus all the keywords and the key phrases, which are very, very useful for prelims as well as mains examination. Nagaraju has joined. A very good morning to you, Nagaraju. And now we will definitely recapitulate the daily news analysis what we have taken up. So this were in regards to the farm loans. Here we are focused in regards to the select committee. What is select committee? We are focused for prelims point of view, and also minimum support price. What the Prime Minister has given the confidence to the farmers and the farmers union that the MSP and the government procurement will continue, and the NBA is asking the Supreme Court to direct the Government of India to initiate or follow the code of ethics for all the news channels. And this we are talking about, we spoke about even FCRA, wherein now the clauses that we have seen, even the making sure that now the administrative, wherein we have seen that from earlier it was 50%, it was reduced to 20%, and also we have seen the government owned or controlled agencies now will be part of the FCRA, along with the one we were talking about the lawyers also, so they will also be included. And again we have looked at the universal eligibility, which we were talking about the World Bank, we have focused, and then we have also looked at AIIB and the infrastructure investment development, reconstruction development also we have looked at. So these are all very, very useful for prelims as well as mains conceptual understanding. So I hope this session was definitely an informative and knowledgeable one to all the civil servant aspirants, wherein they will definitely have an edge over others. And I would say a very big thank you to all and a good luck to you all. And before you sign off, do like the video, share the video, and subscribe the video. And then also do have or visit the website of AKSIS Academy and subscribe the telegram link of AKSIS Academy also. And then I would come up again with the daily news analysis tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. And then my request is do maintain consistency throughout your preparation and then stick to your schedule throughout your preparation, and then please do take care of your physical health and your mental health. And then see you again tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. for the daily news analysis. Thank you very much.